Yes, good evening. You've reached the Speak Your Mind show. I'm your host, Courtney DeCastro, and I'm here with my co-host, Sam Henry. And we're here to dialogue with you tonight as usual. Another night, a Saturday night, and we're right in your living room, and we intend to dialogue with you about the things that are happening in our community. See if we can talk some of the things through, if we could make sense of some of what is happening, and if we could provide some of the leadership that's necessary for some of the things to be made better. So I'm going to say good night, and I'm going to allow Sam to introduce himself as well. Go ahead, Sam.
Good evening to the listening audience and viewing audience. Welcome back again to another stimulating conversation. A look at our community, see what's happening. Again, we want to invite you guys to call somebody, to tell somebody to tune in. And feel free to call us at any time and let us know what's on your mind. Welcome back.
All right, thank you very much there, Sam. I just want to remind our viewers out there about Monday coming up is Martin Luther King Jr. birthday celebration in the U.S. And I know some persons might say, why am I saying that? But I am one of those people who feel that Martin Luther King has done so much for our people over the years that we all should celebrate his accomplishments and what it means to us as people. And I was so happy to be able to see the monument that was put up in his honor in Washington, D.C. And I'd like our people to, although it's not a holiday here, if you could just reflect on the movement, the non-violent movement, the fact that we don't have to be violent to get things done, to make changes in the lives of everybody. I say everybody because I'm one of the people who believe in the I Have a Dream speech, where Martin Luther King referred to people of all color being able to move forward together. And we might also remind persons about the lecture that's coming up, the Frederick Pickering lecture, where Ferrara QC is going to be speaking about our Constitution. And that's coming up pretty soon too. So we're going to be encouraging our viewers to keep current with what's happening the time.
That's right. So let's get to it, folks. Don't hesitate. You can call at any time. We just continue from where we left off last week. We'll probably cover a little bit of what's happening in the news today. This week, government cuts.
Yes. That's
going to be a stimulating topic. I know a lot of people are probably going to be affected by that. So we want to know how you feel about that. Government cuts, and we hope that the leaders going to lead. Yeah. They're going to lead by example, and I think they already said they're going to do that. Yeah. We're not sure exactly how much they're going to be cutting, but it'll be interesting. The country needs good financial management, so this is a good start. We also want to I want to touch something that's very personal. The taxi issues again. Right. It was on the forefront this week. The government had 2 meetings, one in Road Town and one in Virgin Gorda. And there's a huge misconception in the sister islands in relation to what expats or shuttle drivers or tour operators can do when it relates to taxiing. The government did make a special provision to exempt the owners and operators of these businesses to allow them to do business. In other words, if you had a shuttle license, you can also provide tour services or bus services. Your workers can do either one without having to reapply for new licenses. Fair enough, but at the same time, the guys are taking it a bit further, and they're actually illegally taxiing. The law doesn't provide for that. So I want to tackle that a little bit tonight.
Okay.
Last but not least, hopefully we'll have more time. Very important. We had the tourism industry meeting.
That's right.
I thought that was well attended. I would love to see a little bit more of our local guys be involved. Hopefully the next one they'll be there. We'll have more enthusiasm in that. Again, it's very important that all of us understand tourism is all of our business. So everybody should take part in, you know, whatever you need to do or whatever you can do to help better the tourism industry. Let's do it. Let's do it together.
Okay.
So call us anytime, folks. The lines are open. If you have something other than what we just discussed you want to talk about, you want folks to know what's happening, you know, call us and let us know. We want to give you more time on the air. Last week I realized, just this week, Courtney,
yes,
at least 200 people said to me, there's not enough time to call in, and people are waiting in queue. So we want to tell you, call now.
Yeah, call early.
Call now, call early. Yeah. And please, when you call, be to the point, get straight to it, and allow somebody else to call in and voice their concern. So we want to try to limit the calls to at least 2 minutes, a minute, you know, give you enough time to express yourself, but realizing that there's other people trying to get in. So if you can call us now. Let us know. So Courtney, yeah, so let's a little bit tackle the government cuts. Yeah. What do you think about that?
Well, I've heard some talk about cutting. I think it's about 7%. That's what
operational cost.
Operational cost
7%. Yes.
And I heard that would go towards the reserve.
Okay.
And we have a call on the line though. Yeah. Good evening. You're Speaking Mind. Go right ahead, please.
Yeah, good evening. I was reading the news online, and I saw something quite interesting. Medcats, where they're going to have 7, they want to have 7 catamarans fitted out with emergency equipment around the BVI. You aware of that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, the gentleman who was proposing that, he was actually at the industry meeting. Mm-hmm. And just to share a little light on that, the gentleman who died around Christmas time, on Christmas Day, coming from Scrub Island, it was a day outing. The man who died in that vehicle, the man who spoke at the college, that was one of his friends. So he you know, it came to him that...
Okay, I'll go ahead and leave you out.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. Finish what you have to say.
No, I just think it's a good idea, and I hope the guy pull off.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
But he's raising a good issue though, you know, there's a whole degree of safety.
Yeah.
Especially on the water.
Yes.
And it brings to mind the diving, there's a lot of talk has been talked about having a decompression tank.
Yes,
here as
decompression chamber, yes.
Chamber at some
at the hospital.
Yeah, but we have only been talking about it, and the closest one right now is in St. Croix.
Yeah. Well, I tell you, you know, I remember my good friend, one of the ministers. I don't want to call him out right now, but I remember having a brief conversation with him about why don't we utilize the ambulance services. We have several ambulances. We have about 4 or 5 of them. Okay. You have a major neighborhood such as Eastern Longloop, Deep Island.
Yes.
You have another area, Cane Garden Bay.
Yes.
Why don't we expand the fire station, add another building to it,
another bay,
so we can put EMS services in that area and have an ambulance station in East End.
Right. I think they've already started by training the firemen in EMT services.
Yes.
So it's just a matter of going the next step.
Yeah, it's necessary. Yeah. It's necessary. I mean, you have people in East End with the medical emergencies, and the ambulance have to come from Road Town to get to them, when you should have one station in that area. Just like how you have South Police Station, you have one trip.
Yeah, just like how you could catch a taxi and come to town.
Yeah, absolutely. You have them at the airport, you have them in Road Town, you have them in West End. Yeah. So we should be thinking on that level.
I'll even go a little further than that. I think you mentioned Cane Garden Bay.
That's right.
But if there was a fire station or an ambulance on the Ridge Road, you can run down on either side and cut the trip in half. So you know that's more from a firefighting point of view, though.
Yes.
That if to take water up, 400 or 500 gallons of water uphill is more difficult than running downhill.
Use force of gravity to bring it down.
Yeah, you can get there a little quicker.
Yeah.
And we're not saying exam, but what we're talking about is efficiency.
Yes.
And delivery time. And in the UK, I know, for example, some government departments' budgets are cut because of the lack of efficiency. If you can't meet the government's requirement for efficiency, you automatically don't get your funding that you were getting last year. Now that might be a bit harsh for us here to get to that level, but we should start speaking about efficiency. I mean, how long does it take for a response from this entity? I don't want to put any department on the spot, but I'm saying at some point we have to look at measuring efficiency, because we all in business are required to do that. You can't go out and do your business and not have some level of response. We have a call on the line. Yeah. Good evening, you're free speaking mind. Go right ahead, please.
Yes. Hello?
Yes, hello. Your call is important to us. Go right ahead.
Yes, I just wanted to say that somebody said that there needs a lot of needs more lifeguards on the beach.
Oh, thank you for that. That's very true. Thank you very much for that.
Thanks.
All right. That's a concern as well.
That goes to the same premise, the same idea
that we need to look at safety in a holistic way.
One of the things I know in the past 4 years, Visa, along with the lifeguard people, were proposing the government was to bring back jet skis, and have jet skis positioned strategically around the island. One in front of the Bath Station in Virgin Gorda, one over Josiah's Bay, one Cane Garden Bay, and hopefully one in Josephine Dyke. That's all part of what cutting response time is all about.
That's true.
If you have these things in place, it could save a life.
It could save a life.
What this gentleman proposed was a brilliant idea. He proposed having 5 yachts, catamaran yachts, gut them out, turn them into ambulance on the water, and position them in different areas. So they would be pretty close to the emergency and would be able to respond quicker. And then those boats can transport the people to the hospital or wherever. Because it's almost similar to what Visa does. When Visa go out, remember, Visa has to get to the position, try to rescue and save the person, and then transport them back on their boat, which is supposed to be much faster, to the hospital. So I think it's a brilliant idea. And it's not coming out of the government's pocket. The guy talked about corporate funding. He talked about it being self-reliance, like Visa is. They'll connect donation and so forth and get it going.
But in addition to that, I know most of the... Sorry, I'll come back to that thought, but we'll go to the phone. Yes, good evening. You're free speaking mind. Go right ahead, please.
Yeah, good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening.
Yeah, my topic tonight is those sinking badge at Vargas Bay. It's been over a year or more now, and nothing has been doing about these sinking vessels in Vargas Bay.
Okay.
What are the government is doing about the who is responsible to see that vessels get removed from the area?
That's good. That's good that you've made that observation. I've made that observation myself. Some of them are even leaking fuel or oil.
What are our government doing? Are they too soft? Or the people who in control, are they too soft to move at this project?
But Carly, it is all of our concern, because it could also cause a disaster.
If they mangrove, if they were mangrove.
Yes.
If they were mangrove, vessel were mangrove. Mangrove. Everybody talking about them. Oh, how they're spoiling the women, and this and that.
Yes.
But then, my question again, who is in charge of this port authority, or who's in charge of the department?
Shipping registry.
Well, the guy here, they're about the bottom, and do something about it. They don't have teeth to bite. They can't bite.
But Carl, I'm sure they're listening to this program as well, and I'm sure that they'll be taking some steps to correct it. You're not the first person to call in about this issue. I've heard other persons calling about this issue before.
If those guys can't do the job, then they need to be fired. And put people in place. They need to be fired and put people in place who going to do the job. We cannot have people and sit down in the offices and they doing the work.
Especially in these
salary.
Especially in these hard economic times.
Right, those guys just sitting on the butt and ain't doing nothing about it. You know, you have a good show, and thank you.
Keep calling.
Thank you very much for your input.
All right.
All right. Simon might remind persons that www.jtvlive.net is where you could find us as well on the internet. So if you know someone that's far away, you can give them send them a text or give them a call and let them know that we're a live show, and they too can interact with us if they so feel to do so.
What again caught me about the government cut?
Yes.
So they're talking about a 7% operational cost cut,
right,
and maybe a 50% cut in incremental raises.
Right.
The government also talk about maybe they themselves will be cutting.
Yeah.
Some of what they got.
Right.
So people are asking, when is that going to happen?
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's go to the phone and come back to that. Yeah. Good evening. You're Speak Your Mind. Go right ahead, please.
Yeah. Good evening, Mr. How are you guys doing?
We're doing fine. How about you?
I good. I want to say congratulations to Sam there.
Okay.
You guys sound good on the air together. Great show.
Okay. Thank you very much. How things doing over in your area of the woods?
Man, everything is everything. But I went to this meeting up at the college up there.
Okay.
Sam, you were there. You heard all the complaint about Joost Van Dyke and so. Every minute it was Joost Van Dyke, Joost Van Dyke. We rebelled, Joost Van Dyke, Joost Van Dyke. Did you hear it, Henry?
Oh, I heard it. Joost Van Dyke needs a lot of attention.
You was hearing it?
Oh, absolutely.
From the people of Joost Van Dyke, you heard it.
Okay.
After that, I didn't hear nothing from the ministers or nothing from nobody, and they knows what they're going to do or whether they're going to meet us or anything. You think this is right?
Well, what I would suggest, and I like to do a lot of suggesting, you guys started rolling this ball, and I think the 3 or 4 people that I saw, that I listened to, that spoke on the conditions, the necessities that are needed. You guys have to start some action now. Start, writing, calling these offices almost on a daily basis until you can get a representative over there that can help you. But in the meantime, come up with some ideas, because I believe the government right now is willing and ready as soon as money come in to start doing some things. But to help them get to where you need to be, you guys come up with some plan, come up with some ideas that everybody in Joost Van Dyke can benefit from. So when the representative come, you already have something in motion. And all they have to do is just sanction it, or get their engineers to help you guys organize good plan. Joost Van Dyke needs some things. You need some roads. That whole waterfront area need developing and cleaning up in front of Foxy's. You need bathroom facilities. I agree. I come Joost Van Dyke all the time. So you're doing the right thing, and this what you're doing right now is also an addition. So keep doing it.
Thank you very much. That's why I had to call and let some words be heard out over the whole place,
Well, yeah. I'm so glad you're calling from Joost Van Dyke, because we want to reach the persons in this show from all the way Anegada to Joost Van Dyke. It's not just on Tortola. We want to let everyone know that the show includes all of Virgin Islands.
Because I even see we have a minister taking down sign. We have a sign here with a community center now for a year, 2 years. And ain't no community center. You could send somebody take this down too.
That's a good idea. That's
some minister who in charge of community center either come talk to the people, tell the people what's going on with this community center, or send a minister who gonna remove that sign. Because contract sign, people been fooled off in the sign their days like, what kind of?
But Carla, you're right on target, because one of my pet peeves is that we shouldn't be fooling the people. If we're not doing something, we have some of those same signs in Rotang as well. If you're not doing something, then you should take the signs down. You can't have a sign up for 2 years, and nothing is happening. And when you put the signs up, you should have a start date and a finish date.
Serious?
Yeah, we deserve that much.
So anyway, I just want to tell you guys I look good, I sound good, I like how we give people time to talk.
But Carla, before you go, I want to say something real quick. As far as Jost Van Dyke, I'm doing a lot of excursion over to Jost Van Dyke right now to a company I'm dealing with. And I got to tell you, the people are coming back with a 99.9% satisfactory, despite the hard times you're having, the issues you're having. So what I would recommend or suggest to the people over there, people such as yourself, all the business owners, you guys need to come together. We need to meet so we can organize what you have to offer people, so when people come, before they even come, they know what's available. You understand what I'm saying as far as services and businesses and opportunity? A lot of people coming off these cruise ships and stuff now, they booking, you know, day trips over to Jost Van Dyke. Where do they go? They get recommended to one entity. And there's about 10 or 15 of you guys over there that are doing great jobs. So we need to get that information out, all right? So let's organize.
Yeah, man, we doing the work over here, but you know, it's still a little bit of some work that government has to do that we can't. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
I know
for tourists happy, and we make sure they are safe, man.
I think I know a little bit of what you're talking about. You're talking about those bathrooms. You're talking about the generator for the administration building when they don't have any current.
Yeah, you know it. So you take care, have a good night, boy.
Yeah, man, right. Thanks for calling.
All right, bye. Well, it's time we get to that part in the show where we're going to have to take a break for the sponsors that make this show possible. So we're going to take a break and we're going to be right back.
Hi, I am Tanisha Harrigan-Scott, and I am here to bring you some exciting news from Digicel. Now you can talk more and text more for only $15. A great new price plan from Digicel, the bigger, better network. Have you heard? When you top up $15 or more, you get incredible deals with Digicel. Get 100 free minutes, unlimited SMS, and free weekends for 7 days to local Digicel numbers. Top up $15 again, and it will automatically be extended for another 7 days. For more information, drop by our store or visit our website at www.digicelbbi.com. Digicel terms and conditions apply.
Good evening again. We're back live, Speak Your Mind Show. The numbers are up there, 300-1949 if you're calling, and 300-1950 if you're texting. And Sam, I think I have one text here that I need to read so that we can get the ball going with this text, right? It says, good night. 8 years ago, when the NDP first got in the two big companies on Virgin Gorda asked the minister to give the drivers taxi licenses, but the late Paul Watley saw what they were trying to do and he turned it down. He turned it down. After VIP got in now, they found a way to have the drivers solicit and collect money. The BVI law stated that, boy, the text is coming in. The BVI law stated that only taxi drivers can solicit and collect money. So my question is why the law is held up in Tortola but not for Virgin Gorda? Question mark. So we need to know that as well. What's going on with that issue?
Well, Courtney, I can tell you, right, under the taxiing livery law that came out 2008, 2009, I think it was gazetted in 2009. I want the guys in Virgin Gorda to understand that there's no such thing in the law. What the minister and the premier had did, they made a special provision for the tour operators and the guys who own the two big companies that person referring to, permission permission to do cross business.
Okay.
In other words, they have drivers hired. The drivers were able now to, if you were hired as a tour driver, you could shuttle,
right,
and you could run bus service.
Yes.
That's still unfair.
Yeah.
It's still unfair to the individuals who got a taxi license. But there's nowhere in the law that says that those same guys can taxi. So I recommend to the guys in Virgin Gorda, I was just over there yesterday morning, just candidly hanging out, and some of the guys will approach me and telling me we really need to talk about this.
Okay.
They're going to have a series of meeting again with the minister. There's nowhere in the law that say these guys are allowed to taxi. Nowhere. It says tour, shuttle, and bus. And I tell the guys, stand up against it.
Yeah.
It's wrong.
Okay. We have a call. Let's see if we could go to that call. Yeah. Good evening. You're speaking mine. Go right ahead, please.
Yes, good evening. I'm just calling to voice my concern, which is I'm really concerned in regards to the bus drivers that would take the kids to and from school.
Yes.
Where they would tend to drop them off on the street.
Yes.
To me, I think that can be very dangerous because there tends to be like oncoming traffic.
And Carla, if I may add, sometimes they drop them off on the wrong side of the road. In other words, the bus doesn't open on the left-hand side, the bus opens on the right-hand side.
That's true. Yes. And I've also observed, especially at the high school, by the back gate, where some of the bus drivers would pass on the opposite side, and the kids do have to cross across the street with oncoming traffic going up and coming down to get on the bus.
That's true. And it would be much safer if they would just take them inside the compound and drop them off. It wouldn't take, it would take maybe 1 minute more.
Exactly. So maybe that's something, that you can kind of look at.
Thank you for that.
Okay, bye.
All right. Courteous service. I have a colleague who's always talking about courteous service, but he's mostly talking about in the restaurant industry. But service is something that is, I'm sorry, but I like to talk about the service because I think good service is something that we all remember. If you give me good service, Sam, I will always remember that good service. Just give me some bad service and I'll be thinking about it for quite some time.
Service is a needed thing, man.
It's a needed thing, but it's a good industry. It is that thing that leaves a lasting impression on you when somebody serves you properly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think the caller is correct. Who is the client in this case? Those little children.
Yeah.
They deserve the best treatment because they're the ones. They may not be paying. The parents may be paying, but that's that individual that is being dropped off on the wrong side of the road that could get run. No, think about it. If that child get run down, you don't have any more business as a bus driver because one of your passengers is gone. So you have to protect your passenger as much as possible.
Well, if I could play devil advocate, right?
Yeah.
I think personally, I would like to see at those times when the kids are getting out of school, on that side road, if you can have crossing guards there with the big sign that says stop, allowing those kids to board those buses, and that way the traffic can recognize that they're in a school zone. Because I think what the caller is trying to say is that these young people are trying to get on the school bus while traffic is moving, and the people who are flowing are not really paying attention and giving the kids them an opportunity to get on the bus. So maybe you can have more crossing guards in those particular areas. I've always said, I remember having this conversation many times, that even in the evening time, in the morning time, when the kids are being dropped off, they should make the road up by the ball field a one-way around. So if you're coming down the hill and you got school kids, rather than coming in front of the courthouse to continue to block traffic, because every 2 minutes adds up. Next thing you know, you got a traffic jam because every other vehicle coming down have a child to be let off, and it slows up traffic. If they go up by the ball field, you drop your kids off and you make one loop and you come back out on the other side, traffic to me would flow much easier, and the kids can be dropped off in a safe zone, because everybody running up that road would be dropping off kids. And it could be for a short period of time. It could be a half an hour. It could be, a 1 hour thing. It doesn't have to be an all-day thing. So I think definitely the caller is alluding to the fact that more attention needs to be paid by the bus driver and also the general public who is traveling around those times when kids are trying to get on and off buses. But you also said the buses them here don't have the right side door.
They don't.
And that's in the law. That's in the law. If you're running school with kids, you should have, you know, your vehicle should be open on the left side, and then dropping the kids them off on the thing. I personally don't like to deal with school kids and the school kid business. It's too technical.
But as a compromise, if you know your bus doesn't drop them off on the right side, right, on the left side as it should, just drive them in the yard.
That's right.
Just drop them off in the yard. It can't be that, you know, you can't have it both ways.
Brilliant idea.
Yeah, but
brilliant idea.
Yeah,
so guys, real quick again, Virgin Gorda situation is not as complicated as you think. You guys can tackle that tomorrow.
I want you to remind them, Sam, something that you've been saying before: document.
Yeah.
You must document. We can't just be talking about these things and 1 year, 2 years, 3 years in the same situation.
And while we at it, Courtney, I just want to read the part in the law so you guys understand.
Go right ahead.
It said, notwithstanding Regulation 39.3, 41.1, 42.1, a livery service provider on a sister island to whom Regulation 14.4 applies may provide shuttle, tour, and community transit bus. There's nowhere in this, and it continues, that it say these same folks can allow their drivers to drive a taxi on the form of a taxi. So the guys are complaining and saying that, you know, the shuttle operators are going down to the marina, going to the ferry dock, and hustling people in the form of taxi. I don't want to advocate violence, but I say to the guys, if you feel like you're being treated unfairly, block them and let the cops deal with it. Block the vehicle. If they illegally taxiing, block their vehicle and let the cops come and solve the problem, because this is a police issue. The cops are not doing their job. And it's in the law, so walk with the law. It's right there. You have to stand up for your rights. If you're not standing up for your rights, you know, the minister right now is going to do his best to rectify the problem.
We have a call. Let's go to the call. Yes, good evening. You're free to speak your mind. Go right ahead, please.
Hello, good night.
Yeah, good night. Could you speak into the microphone?
I don't know if this is the right time for the subject, but...
Carla, can you speak up just a little bit?
Could you speak into the microphone?
Hello?
Yes, go right ahead.
I don't know if this is the right subject for tonight, but I have a problem.
Go right ahead.
All right. If I work with a company for quite a while and I want to, let's say, I reach age that I should resign or something, do I have any benefit?
I didn't get what you said, you know. If you do what?
If I say work with a company for quite a few years and I reach pensionable age and I want to resign, do I have any benefit to gain from that?
Well,
severance pay or whatever you call it.
Right. There's some new laws that were passed by the new 2010 Labor Code, but I'm not sure if they've been put in place properly. For example, there's a pension, there's a part of it that speaks about pension, and I think the government at this point have to set up something so it becomes effective. Some companies already have pension plans. Now you would have to find out if the company that you are working for, if they have a pension plan. They may not have a pension plan because before 2010 they were not required to have one by law. But you may also be entitled, depending on the company that you're working for, you may also be entitled for severance pay based on the number of years that you've been working there.
Okay, but it is not really a law yet.
From 2010 is a law.
Is a law that you must have? Or not?
The way how the law is written is both the company and the employee contributes to the pension.
Okay, all right. Look at it this way. I've been with this company for like 20 odd years.
Okay.
I don't know if there is a company law or whatever, but if there is not that definitive thing, what can happen?
Well, if there's no law, you may just have to depend on the good ethics of the persons involved in the company, the shareholders, to see fit to take care of the employees properly.
Okay. We have to depend on good nature now.
Well, we speak about that a number of times here on the show. We talk about greed, and we talk about gouging, and we talk about treating employees fairly. All of those things are good ethical ways of running a company. But we also know that we have some people who are very unethical.
Carla, let me ask you a question. The company you work for, do they have a human resource officer?
It's a kind of a small company, not really small, but like 20 employees or so.
Well, they have somebody that deals with employee issues, right?
There must be somebody who deals with hiring and firing.
Yeah, that person should have all the labor codes handy, and they would be able to advise you. But if you're a little intimidated to go and approach them because they might be considering or get to know what you might be considering, then go to the labor department and get a copy of the new labor code and see what it says. It's right there. Again, my co-host said it may not be well written, but there's something you can go with, and then it'll give you a better understanding.
So this labor code that we have now, is it 100% as it is, or subject to other things?
Well, the law could always be revised, but it is what we have to go with right now.
But what we have right now is that we can go with it as it is.
We have to go with it as it is right now.
Thank you very much, sir.
Okay.
Have a good night.
All right, you do the same. Thank you.
Thank you for calling.
Well, that's an issue, Sam, that we probably can try to address at some other point. But there were a number of things that were put in the new labor code that, in my opinion, needs to be brought to the public. Especially the pension part of the labor code that speaks to employees and employers contributing towards a pension plan. And I know some companies have already started the process. They're called up. Good evening, you're free speaking mind. Go right ahead, please.
Good evening. Concerning the school bus dropping off, I think I know in St. Thomas they have the buses. When they stop to drop children, nobody could pass the bus until they finish drop off the children. So I think they need to bring in a law concerning that.
Thank you.
Okay.
That is true. Not only in St. Thomas, but in some other U.S. places. Once a bus stops, there's a stop sign that comes out from the bus, and you can't pass the bus while the bus is dropping off the students.
For the security of the children is there.
That is correct.
Okay.
All right. Well, Sam, I was making mention of the fact that that we have to pay attention to what's going on with this pension revision, because it calls for the employer to garnish the employee's salary. In other words, take out money out of the employee's salary. And two, it called for that money to be invested with the employer putting in a portion. Now, as far as I know, the law is silent on the amount of the contribution.
I think it's based on percentage, eh?
No, I mean how much. There's no. I don't think there's any minimum or any maximum. Okay, so it's kind of, left up to the parties involved to decide and be comfortable with it. So I think it needs some addressing.
I believe that pension, that whole labor code pension scheme, it really needs and I believe the government gonna do it, but it really needs combing.
It needs.
To me, from what I've read,
we need to come.
It will kill a small business.
But in addition to that, it needs to be sorted out properly, right? And I didn't get to the most ticklish part of it to me, and that is the investment of the money. We have a call, so we're going to come back to that. Good evening. You've reached Speak Your Mind. Go right ahead, please.
Yeah, good evening. How are you?
Good evening. I'm fine. How are you doing?
Great. And I thank you guys for talking about this, about this subject tonight. And my concern is, by the cruise ship there. Why don't you put somebody, for the, like when the French people, the Italian, and the Spanish people, so forth. We really need somebody down there for that.
You mean as a translator?
Of course.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure the people who are in tourism are listening, and they would understand that we need to be able to. I know there's one or two people who assist with translating, but that's specifically for some languages. But I do agree with you. We need to start having persons in many different languages relate to the type of tourists that we're becoming more and more cosmopolitan.
Okay, yeah, but especially I know somebody that speaks 5 languages. If you want, you can have his number. I don't know.
Okay.
If you don't mind,
Yeah.
You speak French, Italian.
But even welcome, even to welcome the strangers in all the different languages would be a first step, don't you think?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, thank you very much for the content. It was my concern. Thank you, guys.
Thank you for your input.
You're welcome.
Right.
Brilliant call. Love it. We were just talking about that the other day.
Yes, we need to be more plural in our welcome. We could say welcome in all the different languages, and have persons feel more at home.
I think the tourists would. And I remember having this discussion in one of our meetings.
Yeah.
I think the tourist boat should have rolling information officers.
Yeah.
Whenever a cruise ship come in, and the officers would be multi-language.
Yeah.
If you got French, Italian, German coming in on a particular day, it helps enhance the customer's experience.
Yeah, I know someone that does an excellent job with the German tourists. I mean, that without that person, I don't think most of the German tourists would feel as comfortable as they feel. Yeah. But I have also seen that like the person that called, there are a number of Spanish persons coming and French people coming as well.
That's right.
We have a call. Let's go to the line. Good evening. You have reached Speak Your Mind. Go right ahead, please.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
I would like to ask a question. What is the real problem about the bus? Why the buses cannot go through the school and go out on the other gate at Lower State Road to deliver the children? Is it a problem there?
I don't know, caller. I don't know what the problem is. And when you really think about it, though, there are a number of other things that could happen as well. They could make a lay-by on the side on the side that's adjacent to the school. Right now there's a lay-by on the opposite side. If we had a lay-by on the side of the school, then they wouldn't interfere with the traffic at all.
Okay.
So I don't know if it's a security issue with not letting them into the schoolyard, but I'm saying in addition to that, we can do what we can do to ensure safety, because safety is a very important concern.
Yeah, because I feel to myself that if they go to the school and let the children off in the schoolyard, it will be much, much better.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I do agree with you.
Okay.
All right. I don't know about you, Sam, but I think this discussion is at least about 10 years old.
Yeah, it's very old.
It's a very old discussion.
I wouldn't, go ahead.
Yeah.
Get the call.
Yeah. Good evening. You're free Speak Your Mind. Go right ahead, please.
Hello, good night.
You need to turn your television set down, please. Go right ahead.
Hello?
Yes, go right ahead, my dear.
I was just calling to talk about the bathrooms over by A.O. Shortigum, because there's sports events that's going on there, and some of us children want to go there, but the bathrooms are very dirty and not sanitary.
Thank you very much for that. I hope that the persons who are listening would get on with getting them clean, or young people are catching all kind of illnesses because of a number of uncleanly situations, and I think that is one of them that they really need to pay attention to. The bathrooms need to be properly clean. Maintenance is something that we're falling down on, Sam, in a number of areas. You only have to look at some of the public buildings and see all things growing in the guttering and stuff like that. And I've heard other stories about a high school where the situation is similar, where students are not able to use the bathrooms because of the condition. And I know in some cases we're paying people to clean these places.
And not being
so we have to pay more attention and look at the quality. And I thank you. You sound like a very young person, but all of us have the same concerns. I have the same concern that we should be living in a healthy and clean environment, and we should do a better job of maintaining what we have.
That's right.
We have a lot of things that need maintaining, and maintenance is something that you should plan. You shouldn't do maintenance by default. You should plan maintenance. You should have a schedule. I'm going to do this 3 times a week, 1 time a week. I'm going to do this 1 time a year. Not just wait for a disaster to happen and then, you know, call in the troops and pay, you know, an extravagant amount of money to have it corrected. We should plan our maintenance programs for everything.
Well, that bathroom facility right there at the A.O. Shirley ground could also be used as a tourist area for tourists, you know, because we got the tourists walking around now. Some walk from the cruise ship dock, you know, to the botanical garden, and they need restrooms.
Yes,
you know, if we're gonna really do what we said we're gonna do to enhance the tourist experience, and encourage more people to tell their friends about us. These little things is what they pay attention to. You know, good bathroom, clean roads, courteous people, and you know, information available.
And we're right back to where we started out with, that service. And that service and that lasting impression. You know, and I've heard you say something that resonate with me, and it says it goes like this. It says that when you spend a lot of money on someone to bring them here, those that you have here already, you have to take better care of them.
That's right.
So that you don't have to spend the money to bring them here.
That's
because
right.
they're here already.
They're already here.
Anyway, we're going to have to take a break for these sponsors who make the show possible. So we're going to take a break and we're going to be right back with you.
I am Tanisha Harrigan Scott, and I am here to bring you some exciting news from Digicel. Now you can talk more and text more for only $15. A great new price plan from Digicel, the bigger, better network. Have you heard? When you top up $15 or more, you get incredible deals with Digicel. Get 100 free minutes, unlimited SMS, and free weekends for 7 days to local Digicel numbers. Top up $15 again, and it will automatically be extended for another 7 days. For more information, drop by our store or visit our website at www.digicelbbi.com. Digicel terms and conditions apply.
We're right back in your living room. We're right back, Sam, and we have to get some of these texts in before we don't get them in. And as usual, the time is just flying with this show. Yeah, right here. It said that one text that came and said, I'm having an irritating problem with rats. You watch them running on the electric wires, and you're home. There are so many trees towering over the wires and the rats, you see, so I think it's a good time for solid waste to start trying to look at reducing the rat population like they did a couple times before. You know, I think it's something that could be really beneficial to a lot of us in the community. It says here, another text that came in, they're talking about cuts. Government need to cut back on paying this ridiculous rent for people. At least after a year of doing such, those people pay their own rent. That would help the economy, put our people first in these economical times. Got another text that came in, said the ministers need to give back the entire monthly housing allowance. They will get great respect for this. That's a text that came in from one of our people out there. Send it more than one time. Yes, they really mean it. Good night, you guys. I can see you hosting your own show, Courtney, as you have a new co-host. All the best to you both for the new year. Thank you very much. We appreciate that very much. Residents of Lower Estate have been without water for 4 days. The public needs to be informed by an official. Sam, I strongly feel that way. I feel that when we have interruption in basic services, be it water, be it electricity, whatever, sewage, whatever, there should be some government official that, you know, does the public relations of saying what the situation is.
Well, you talk about customer service.
I talk about customer. So who is the customer here?
How do we expect folks coming in working for us in our establishment to give us good customer service when our own government entities don't give us good customer service?
There we go. They're holding out.
It has to start from the top.
They're holding out.
So government official, the residents don't have water, they don't have electricity. There need to be more public notice ahead of time, letting people know what's happening. You won't be criticized if you do it like that.
I think that maybe the government should look at having public relation persons and all the ministries and departments that interact directly
with the public,
and have a proactive approach to customer care.
So you mean, like, you know, if you know you're going to be turning off the power,
yeah, just tell everybody,
you know, let people know I'm turning off the power in your area.
The power is going to be off, you know, and or the power, we had a problem and the power went off and we're hoping to get it back on, or it went off for 6 hours, you know, but we apologize, but it's back on now, you know. Be more user friendly.
Yeah. Well, Courtney, real quick, coming up, there's a Cruise to Run.
Yes.
Cruise to Run is a program, I think 3-4 years now I've noticed it.
Right.
A lot of people come in, they sign up for this Cruise to Run, they go to different destinations, they get off and they run a particular path, and they try to link some history, and you know, they give the destination a big big push.
Yeah.
So since we're on the topic of tourism, I remember at the industry meeting the other day, one of my colleagues got up and he was talking, he was encouraging the tourist board to start utilizing our athletes who are out and abroad, who are traveling. These guys can be great ambassadors for the country, and they can be people without spending a lot of money by simply supplying them with simple things, brochures, uniform. For example, the Olympic is coming up this year. What are we doing with the people who are living in England?
The 2012.
Give them free tickets to go to these Olympic events and let them dress up with BVI outfit on.
Sam, we have a call. Yeah, good evening. You're free to speak your mind. Go right ahead, please. Good evening.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
How are you guys doing?
Bless.
We're doing fine.
Courtney, say hi, new co-host.
Yes, yes, sir.
That's good. That's good. I think the guy is part of the taxi association, right? Am I right?
Sorry?
Your co-host is part of the taxi association?
Yes.
Yeah. I'd like to ask him a couple of questions.
You go right ahead.
Are you aware that the general public itself have a lot of issues with the way how the taxi drivers operate and behave on the street?
Very much. Yes.
I've been listening to your program, meeting with the minister the other day, and I mean, I have all these concerns, and yes, that's right. But to the general public, I don't think their rating is above 5%. I really don't. So, because to the motoring public, y'all stop anywhere, y'all park anywhere, y'all drive people back there. They're going to the airport. A taxi bus almost run me off the road. The speed where he going up the road with.
Another thing, sometimes you ride with the taxis and the way how they talk to you, the way how they treat you. You know? These are issues that the general public have with the taxi drivers. And I don't think that they are addressing, as I say, customer service. That they have local customers, plus they have the tourists which they treat as customers. Maybe they only see the tourists as customers. But in the slow time when they have to depend on us, who live here, to commute with them, we don't get no good service from them. And you guys need to really pay attention to issues like this, because I mean, it's really disheartening sometimes the language the taxi drivers use, the way how, you know, no respect. And that is something that I would like to hear you comment on. It's not up here.
All right. Thank you very much for that, caller.
Caller, since you're listening, I can't argue with you. I cannot argue. What I would say, though, the taxi industry does need some help. It needs some help in improving its image. The ministry right now, we have a taxi commission, and I think they're active. They were at the meeting the other night. I suggest, if you don't know the information, I will have some information hopefully next week, God's willing, where you'll have email, a website maybe, a complaint line that you can call and complain when you see a taxi driver behaving in any particular way that you know is not conducive to good behavior or in improving the image. You could just simply document, write their name if you can get it, write down their taxi number if you can get that, and then make those complaints to the taxi commission, because this is why we have a taxi commission, so we can get rid of those bad apples. But in defense of the taxi business also, we have some good guys out there. We got some good guys who are really trying their best. They're good image for this industry. They're real ambassadors for this industry and for this country. And they do their best to make sure that, you know, every customer is treated equally. I try my best every time I deal with people, whether they're tourists or they're locals. So, but also we have a lot of cleaning up to do. We got guys who are running bus service and they driving a taxi, and it's confusing the general public. So a lot of times the people who are racing up and down the street, running from place to place with a busload of people, they're not really taxi operators. They're not operating from a particular stand or anything like that. They're guys just out there hustling. And I'm asking the ministry to stop that. That's illegal. You know, the laws that are on the books for that, I support. I support where I believe that anybody in this business should be governed to a taxi association. And they should be governed under the rules and regulations of a taxi association so you can have a better service. So you're absolutely right. We got some issues. And I believe the minister right now is going to help rectify some of those.
Well,
very good call.
Yeah, that's a very good call. And it goes back to what we were saying in the beginning as well. Yeah. Service. And the caller is right on target. If you have a customer, you need to take care of that customer.
Absolutely.
That customer is your most important person. Yeah. And the lasting impression. Yeah. You know, they don't remember they may not remember the good service, but they surely remember the bad service. And they tell other people about the bad service. And that's the dangerous part about the bad service.
Yeah, I mean, I drive a lot of people every day.
Yes.
Different people, and I always try to treat people nice because that's the way I want to be treated when I travel.
Right. Good evening. You're free speaking, man. Go right ahead, please.
Yes, good evening.
Good evening.
I'd just like to say congratulations to my brother and Sam. I know you know who's talking. I'm glad that you raised the issue of bus service, because you know that's up my alley. Now, you mentioned something that you were talking about a while ago, and I just want to reiterate what it is you were saying. Now, the situation with taxi drivers, as you just mentioned, I personally feel too that all taxi drivers should be affiliated with associations. And the reason I said that is because they assigned us a bunch of shirts where we have to use for transporting people when we're working at the cruise ship. Now, there are a lot of complaints that come in, and you can't tell who the complaints are coming from. Now, one of the reasons I said that too is because, for example, we have about 5 different associations. I just understood we have over 300 taxi drivers. Now, half of the taxi drivers are not affiliated with the association, as you will very well know. So how do we address the fact who to complain to when situations like that occurs? Another situation is, I heard you guys talking earlier about people, languages and stuff like that for people who come out of the cruise ship. Now, I was one of the only taxi drivers when summertime and Easter time come along with hire, kids from the high school to go on tour with me so they could learn the industry. This is something that I think needs to be done on a broader scale. Because we have kids out there who are interested in doing this kind of stuff. And that there's nobody to take them.
And Carla, don't forget the college as well. There are a lot of students that take 2 years of Spanish at the college.
Yes, and that's another thing too. Like I said, just the other day, I had a situation where we had some French people that came across, and I had to find somebody who speaks patois, so to speak, in order to address the French people. I mean, and these are along the lines that I think we need to be looking at as tour operators, as industry. We need to focus on people doing different languages in order for us to accommodate for the type of people we have. The reason why we have so many people walking when they come out of the ship is because we can't address them. So we undersell ourselves in order to try to do business in order to make a dollar, which is wrong. So let's just take my brother to address those 2 areas. The bus service people, like you said, doing taxiing on bus stops, which is competing against the bus stops. It's legally wrong. And I know the callers may call in and say that we have buses doing the same job as taxis. But at the same time, you have to understand, if you're going to be running on my bus stop, and I'm running at your taxi fare, your taxi areas, how else would one eat? You know what I'm saying? So please address that.
All right, thank you very much, Carl.
What I would say, Courtney, is what we tried to do before, when the other government was in, was, the majority of the issues is from east to west, like from East End to Road Town.
Yes.
And we have a group of guys that's the way they make their livelihood. So I don't want to speak out against them and kill them. But what I'm saying is that they could be regulated better. And I had suggested to those guys, we had a meeting one time in a community center up there in East End, that the guys should come together in an association. And what they can do is maybe lobby the government to recognize them as a body, a bus service body, and see if they can get part of the government had give up franchises to 2 or 3 other companies. If they can come together as a body, get a franchise, and then what they can do is buy buses. Each one of them guys have at least 2 buses. Buy buses. Under the law, you can hire a driver to run a scheduled bus service.
Yes.
And now you can maintain your taxi business and go taxi.
Yes.
You understand? So we have to start thinking like business people instead of thinking the way we thinking. So the problem is, those guys are doing a great job. But they're running a bus service with a taxi vehicle, and under the law, that's illegal. So maybe that's another we can approach. I would be happy to sit with these guys and let's go at it again. Let's all come together, farm association, go to the government, see if we can get a franchise, buy some buses, put those buses now to do the bus service. And you now got your taxi, go taxi.
It definitely needs some tweaking. I agree.
Yeah,
they need some tweaking.
Yeah, and we could do it. We could do it, but
as we grow more and the public demand more services, we need to become more organized.
Yeah. Yes.
A little bit more organized. I know persons that want to have, to be able to get from East End to Road Town at 9 o'clock at night, and sometimes the only way they can do that is by hitching a ride. And without a proper service in place, well, when I say a proper service, I mean without a fee and without a route, right?
And a schedule.
And a schedule.
Yes.
It's almost impossible to know that you're waiting for a bus or waiting for, some form of transportation.
And that whole thing can be worked out so easily. I mean, you have enough guys to do it, so.
Yeah. Anyway, we're being asked to take a break for these sponsors that make the show possible. So we're going to take a break and we're going to be right back with you.
Hi, I am Tanisha Harrigan Scott, and I am here to bring you some exciting news from Digicel. Now you can talk more and text more for only $15. A great new price point from Digicel, the bigger, better network. Have you heard? When you top up $15 or more, you get incredible deals with Digicel. Get 100 free minutes, unlimited SMS, and free weekends for 7 days to local Digicel numbers. Top up $15 again, and it will automatically be extended for another 7 days. For more information, drop by our store or visit our website at www.digicelbvi.com. Digicel terms and conditions apply.
We're right back with you. We're back on Speak Your Mind. And we have a couple of texts we're going to try and get to real quickly. We've been getting a lot of texts. It says, Courtney, I see that you are the new host. We got another one that said, based on the laws you read about tours and shuttle, it is clear that they cannot collect money, but yet traffic department and the minister, when the question was asked if they can collect money, they said yes. They said yes, based on the laws, traffic should come back. Texts are just coming in. They should come back and tell the truth. And they do have a lawyer at their disposal. Another one here, it says taxi at the airport does not want to taxi locals. That's a text that came in. It says the government designed a designated pull-off for taxi opposite of Lime in Road Town, and the majority of taxis stop at the start of the highway in front of Pastor Post and cause a congestion. And when you blow your horn, they curse you out. So that's interfering with traffic. I'm a local who came in beef on 3 different occasions and could not get a taxi. I said, Courtney, I see that you are the new host. It says, good night, Mr. Courtney. I have been listening to you for a long time, and I am glad that you are by yourself now. I have a question to ask you. What is your opinion when it comes to a man who lived here for over 20 years without any crime, any criminal record for 3, 4, 5, and now with 3, 4, 5, and more children, all British Virgin Islanders attending school, and their father is an expatriate? It is not fair for the minister could use his discretion to issue a taxi license to man for the children's sake, so they too can serve as British Virgin Islanders. That speaks to the British Nationality Act, and I think when they're having the lecture at the H. Labadie Community College, you should go and voice your opinion, because the Constitution is the highest law of the land, and we cannot go against the laws. What we can do is lobby our legislators to change the laws so that it reflects the thinking of the people, because laws are made to govern people. And if the majority of people feel a particular way about a law, they should voice that opinion and have the law changed. I'm making reference to as well to social commentary by one of our Calypsonians, the one that won. He made a good song about the same issue. And I think if I read his social commentary clear, it says pretty much the same thing as what the text that came in is saying, that people who live here for 20 years should have some rights in the country that they live for such a long time. So maybe it's time, Sam, that we start looking at change. You know, change is a big word in our community. A lot of people don't like change, like to stay the way they are.
I think anybody that contribute ought to be recognized and given the rights. So I want to address real quick one of those texts, Courtney. Again, I want the public to understand. The government created a bus pull-off, where people who are legal and legitimate to run bus operation can park in front of line, and they should be running on some kind of schedule, and they shouldn't be stopping on the main carriageway to pick people up. So those people, again, folks, when you see these things are happening, put on your phone and put a video on them, and then start sending those information in. I got a YouTube account if they want to send it to me, so we can start, you know, documenting these things, because these people are not taxi operators. They're not operating in the capacity of a taxi. They're operating in the capacity of a bus. They're charging bus fares, and they cut each other off just to get the load. There's no respect, there's no guidance, there's no schedule. So you got to look at the people who are doing it, and if you're standing on that corner too, you're encouraging them to stop.
Yes.
You're encouraging people to stop, because a lot of times to the public, they'll go there and hope that they can catch a ride before one of those buses come around, and then if they don't catch a ride by somebody, then they'll get in the bus by flagging them down.
Yes.
So maybe we had pushed the government, we pushed the police to put some officers on the corner and stop those guys from stopping there, and when they started doing that, guess what happened?
What?
They were called off.
Yeah.
Mr. Colwood, you know, everybody call him RoboCop, but he's one of the best police officers we have out here, and he was doing his job. And when he started doing his job so well, they called him off. So it almost seemed like these things, these laws were made just a formality. Yeah. But there's nothing really behind it to enforce them. We're not really interested in enforcing line order in this country.
You made a very good point about you know, information that I want to follow up a little bit on, and that is, you know, by recording what you see and by making contact with it. And I want to beg that we get the BVI government website up and running, because for some time now it hasn't been up and running.
Whoa.
And in addition to that, I'd also like to remind person that you still have 5 representatives in each district. So you have 5 people who you could Facebook, email, call, and all those things. Good evening, you're free to speak your mind. Go ahead, please.
Good night, how are you doing?
Good night, I'm doing fine. And yourself?
You know, it took a long time for you to be by yourself. That's the best thing ever happened.
Thank you.
Listen. Sorry about that. I listened to you speak about the taxi turn-off point there in front of the cell.
Yes.
But let me show you something as an example, right? This has been going on for years. One of the main reasons why the people walk around by Sitco, however you want to call it, they definitely congestion the traffic. But we must also look at one thing. The government built that cutoff. They did not build a shed.
That's true.
And when the sun hot there, that's the reason. 90% of that is the reason why the people don't go on the opposite side.
Thanks for your observation.
To catch the bus.
Thanks for your observation.
The next thing again you talk about there, the other guys talk about RoboCop doing the work. RoboCop is one of the luckiest man ever live. Trust me, because he got an attitude. You never know where he's coming from. He jump out in front of your vehicle with one up in the air. You want to push your hand out of your vehicle to put on a seatbelt on you. You want to push your hand from the windshield and tear off, black out. That is not for you to do. For you to do is to give you a ticket. So, and let me tell you something, and I will say this right now, RoboCop got an evil for me and my family. He started from my son, he come down to me, he come down to my daughter, he went to my grandchildren them. And I reported to the disciplinary board over and over. And I hope he learns some sense. Because I got a lawsuit to drop on him. When he get that, he won't go tremble.
But Carla, you're right back on the subject that we started out with. And it has to do with service. And when you're providing a service, be it whoever you are in this community, we want good service.
Okay, let me show you something as an example, right? Sometime ago here, down by the ferry dock in Rotong, I don't know if you hear about that yet. He got a load of ferry tourists on there. And you know, in the Christmas season, how the place does be.
Yes.
No taxi was going in there to pick up tourists. They had nowhere to park. So they put in to load the tourists. Mind you, it's close you're talking about now. RoboCop comes from no place out of this whole wide world with a vehicle. And he thrown a siren. Some of them people down there job in the sea. And it's close you're talking about. That is wrong. That is wrong. You're supposed to be able to stop for a couple of seconds or a couple of minutes to pick up passengers and to let off.
You also need to be sensitive. You also need to be sensitive to your client, the person who you're serving.
Okay. Okay. That is why I tell you you're a lucky fella.
Well, we're growing, you know, we're developing, and what you're doing the right thing. You're sensitive.
Again, if you not already can't on again, and let me tell you, the commissioner of police and the government playing with he. Them looking to get somebody in trouble for he. That's what's happening. And I complained to you a long time.
Okay.
You take it easy, Courtney. You keep doing well.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
I wanna say something, Courtney. I think this is gonna be the first call I can probably disagree a little bit with. Just a little bit.
But that's good. That's what dialogue is all about.
I think we need 10 more of RoboCop. I think it's unfortunate this person in particular is having this issue with RoboCop, and there might be some disciplinary action might be needed to take against RoboCop because he might be a little bit over the top with it. But Courtney, I see some things happening in this country, and if we don't put a hand on it, 5 years from now, you're going to need 100 RoboCop to try to bring it back.
You're talking about antisocial behavior.
We got a lot of issues.
We have a lot of issues.
And right now, the reason these things are happening is because we don't have no RoboCop doing their job, except for when RoboCop come out and do his job. So we need more. This will be my first disagreement, and no, it ain't going to be the last. So, Carla, I respect your opinion, and if you're having issues, I think, yes, you're going about it right. You deal with it, but at the same time, I want 5 more RoboCops out there in the street.
Well, Sam, it has come to this point in the show.
It was good.
Where we have to start winding it down quickly because we've gotten to the end of the show. Just to remind persons that a big horse racing event coming up tomorrow at the Ellis Thomas Downs, where we're having the Triple Crown. I think it's the first time in the history of these islands where St. Croix, St. Thomas, and Tortola are going to be competing for a Triple Crown purse, so to speak. I'm not sure if this is the first leg or what, but I know it's important. It's so important that people are coming over from those islands in large numbers, and I think it's going to be something that we're going to read about in the history books. So I would like to encourage as many people as can get involved in it to go at it. We were able to talk a little bit about Martin Luther King birthday that's coming up on Monday, and although it's not a holiday, I would like people to get involved, read about it online, talk to your children about it, the significance it means to us as a people. I think that's something that we should look at. We talked a little bit about the upcoming lecture that's coming up at the community college. We were able to talk a bit about government cuts and the 7% that is going to go into effect. We talked a little bit about the horse racing. Of course, we had a lot of talk about the taxi drivers and the meetings with the ministry and some of the challenges in the taxi industry. We talked a little bit about the Bogos Bay vessels and the fact that they're sitting there now for a long time and in a dangerous situation and should be looked after by some government official who is responsible for that. They should take the lead and we got a beautiful call from Josh Van Dyke that speak about some of the problems that we're having over there, and we need to address them. We talked a bit about Cruise to Run, the fact that that's coming up pretty soon, and it's going to be a way of selling us on a different level, where we always have people come into our territory, but not everybody come to do the same thing. And we have to try to address those different issues as well, because there's money to be made. Cruise tourism, athletic tourism, medical tourism. I mean, it's endless. The taxi industry needs to pay more attention to the customers. I spoke a bit about the government websites that are not working. I think we need to beg, argue, encourage government to open up that area of dialogue. We know we have some people on Facebook and who have their own websites, etc. But the government portal, the one BVI government, that one hasn't been working for some time, and we need to, we need to follow up on that, and especially the fact that we have a census that was commissioned in 2010, and this is 2012 now. We still can't know how many young people we have in the territory, how many expatriates.
What's the mortality rate?
What's the mortality? Nothing.
Aging rate.
Nothing. And Sam, we had a good show, and we had a number of texts. We thanked everyone that called and texted. And we had a very good show. And could you give us a little something that says we're going before we leave?
Yeah, Courtney, I just want to thank the people who are listening and watching. I'm glad we give them a chance to open up the phones early, because again, people were saying that they don't have enough time, they're waiting in queue too long. Thank you very much for calling us and letting us know what's bugging you. And folks, even if we disagree, we can always find common grounds. So that's the important. Let's find the common grounds. And I would recommend to folks, anytime you have a situation going on, and it's going on for a long time, take some time to document it. Take some time to write some notes. You're having issues in the taxi industry. I'm in the transportation service business, and I believe that we could do better. But we only could do better when people are telling us where we're falling off. I believe the government is going to do good by us. I believe they're gonna really step in and help regulate the industry. We're going to get the commission out there. In tourism, we need to pay more attention to it, all of us, everybody out there. Whether you're working in tourism or not, it's affecting your bottom line. So we need to be more proactive, get kids more involved. We got to start now. We got a 20-year gap. You know, kids with attitude and behavior, knowledge, you know, the kids that are there that are 15 and 20, they don't care. The gap is there because nobody took the time out to really like bring them along. So
that's
folks,
true.
Thank you for listening. We're going to be here, God's willing, next week. We want you to tune in to JTV Live. We're going to have a blog up there. If it's not up there yet, my manager promised you we're going to have a blog, so you guys can blog and send us your complaints, send us your issues early, so we could tackle those things when we come. We have something that's fruitful and we could talk about. So thank you so much for watching.
Thank you for that, Sam. And as usual, I'd like to say God bless these Virgin Islands and the people that live in it, and we'll see you next week.